So now I want to move and spend a little bit of time with you to introduce to you what we're calling our learning ecosystem reimagined. But before I do that, I want to spend a little bit of time, and it picks up on some of the themes that we just heard from both Heath and Jim about where is the industry, what's really going on. And we love this quote from Benjamin Franklin, investment in knowledge pays the best interest. And there was a man way ahead of his time, right? I mean, it was certainly true then, but is it not even more so the case now? And when you look at what's going on from a training perspective and how important it is becoming incredibly important for those of us in the knowledge industry in particular regarding the ability to attract employees and ability to retain employees, right? Many of you, I don't have to say that, but here's some stats around that. But perhaps even more important, I think for almost every industry today, the ability to deliver, and you leverage technology in your business, to reimagine your business, to go through digital transformation is so key. And that does not happen without a very skilled, capable workforce with a diverse set of skills. And I'll come back to that a bit later. So it is imperative, and I think that is becoming more and more critical and recognized across almost every industry that certainly we deal with here in LearningTree. So let's say, though, that this is not easy, right? I mean, challenges that are facing organizations today, there's a war for talent, especially in this area, right, in the Washington, D.C. area, but really across the world. There's estimates of a couple million openings within cybersecurity across the world right now. So there's a war for talent. So you're actually, how do you distinguish yourself as an organization to be able to attract and keep the best and the brightest for growing your own business? And we see that acutely as we work with our customers. And what's even more interesting is it not the case? I mean, I keep thinking, I've been in IT my whole career. I keep thinking, things are going to start to level out. And then there's always, seems like there's the next, quantum computing, there's always the next big thing coming that's going to transform us. And it really does. It's incredible. I mean, we live in a world of science fiction based on what I remember in the 1980s, what we're doing now, right? So it keeps going faster, and this is a really interesting chart. So this is a study that was done that says we've crossed the line, that technology now is outpacing our ability as humans to actually adapt to it, okay? That it is accelerating at such a pace that we can't really keep up with that. That's an interesting point, but that's kind of where we're at. And what does that really mean from a learner experience, okay? It is both, I think, for corporations in particular, the biggest threat to them if they don't react well to this, but it's also the biggest opportunity they have. All right, and I love this quote from this Chief Learning Officer from JP Morgan Chase. We're in a period where the premium for more innovative and effective corporate learning designs and solutions has never been more important. So I think that's great for a company like LearningTree because that's exactly what we're trying to do, okay? We're trying to provide corporations and government agencies better learning solutions for them on an effective basis. So a lot of innovation going on in the training space right now, in the workforce development space. You can see here, and I'm not going to try to read this chart, but just we're into now a lot of digital learning, right? We're moving toward a model where more and more learning will be in the flow of work, kind of just as you need it kind of model. That's where we're headed, right? But that's where we're saying we're going. That's great. But where are most organizations right now? Okay, they're experiencing what Heath said so articulately. We got a bigger and bigger skills gap that they're facing, right? And what are they doing about it? Well, some organizations like Booz Allen and Hamilton are really dealing with it, I think, effectively, but a lot of organizations are struggling, particularly in the technology skills, where that skills gap is actually accelerating over time. And so this is an imperative. I think this is a true imperative for most companies. And now let's flip the model and talk just a second about the worker themselves, so particularly those that are younger coming into the workforce. They're very impatient, right? They want things now, they want to learn now. that is what they expect based on the tools that they have at their fingertips, okay? Many of them are overwhelmed, okay? Overwhelmed coming into the work environment, trying to learn new things. And what's interesting is across the board, and I'm not trying to say it's across all organizations, certainly not, but if you go across the board, that 1% number there, that represents the amount of time that they're given typically on the job per week to enhance their skills and abilities. So it's kind of ironic. On the one hand, we know it's incredibly the most important imperative, yet most companies, organizations are not really doing the investment that they should be into their people. So how can we deal with this? So what's going on today, all right? What do we see, all right? We are traditionally have been a company that has valued instructor-led training. We've got a great set of instructors, some of them in this room, but a lot of organizations have moved to e-learning, okay? This is self-paced, don't need an instructor, do it by yourself. And that sounds like the ideal solution, right? They can do it off hours, they can do it at lunch, they can learn, we can get these certificates, whatever we need. Sounds like it's a panacea. And by the way, we've got a great partner like IT Pro TV, I've just mentioned. You know, they've got great content, and we do believe in e-learning, but it's necessarily not enough. And why is that? Well, it takes a special person, particularly in technical disciplines or in disciplines that require a lot of attention to detail, to learn that way, to do it with self-paced learning by yourself with no other help. Look at these rates of completion, okay? I won't even talk about how much they retain, but full completion rates of no more than 25% typically. A lot of people don't even begin courses when they're in that kind of mode and asked to take them. So while it's a tool, it's an important tool, and it's a good tool, it's not enough. And we're seeing that in real world situations that we're dealing with. Now, what does work? What absolutely works, and this was a study done, they called it social learning, but this is really what we would call a blended learning approach. Bringing together, you can use e-learning, but bringing experts to bear in a classroom or in coaching and mentoring. Social networks, the use of the internet itself to be able to learn. Learning on the job, learning with your peers, bringing all that together, astounding ROI ratio versus just doing something only with an e-learning model, okay? So we have become a true believer that the use of a social learning approach, that the use of a blended learning approach, different modalities, is the right model, particularly when you can tailor it to the individual. Some individuals love to learn by themselves and are very good at it. Many of us need to be much more in a social environment to learn well. This multimodal or blended learning model is really starting to catch on, okay? There was a study done recently that 35% improvement if you compared it to just doing on-demand e-learning or you just did instructor-led. When you started to combine these things together, you start to get a real uplift. 86% of organizations are blending frequently at this point. So we're seeing this happening. Every week we see RFPs that we respond to. I don't care what's government or industry now. Almost always they have some element of a blended learning model that they want from us. So the world has changed rapidly in this, and we need to respond as a leading learning development company. So let's talk about a specific example. We do work for the Mayo Clinic. Many of you would probably know the Mayo Clinic, one of the world's leading health institutions. They had a library of on-demand that they were trying to actually use for their developers, their software developers using an on-demand product to try to teach themselves. Needless to say, that wasn't going so well. They called us in and said, what can you guys do? We said, well, let's not eliminate the on-demand, let's use that. But what we did was we took some of our courses, we customized those courses to work with the on-demand content. We built special exercises for them. We built some capstone projects on the end of this, put cadres through about a 6-week kind of regimen, and astounding success. More than 90% of more than 150 people got through this program, and the skills assessment scores at the end of the program were multiples, 3.7 times what they were when they just gone through the use of the on-demand content alone. So this model works, okay, and it can rapidly change how you learn, and it can rapidly change for both the individual and for an organization. But we need to be able to do it, right? This is what our clients want. We Lead Learning Tree need to be able to offer this. And so we've studied, looking at the top 10 learning methods today. I'm not going to go through them all, but you could probably guess what most of those are. And say, how do we bring these together in a model that's compelling? And that's what we're calling our new learning ecosystem, okay? And the idea here is to have a platform, we're calling a learning management platform, okay, that allows us to both work with individual learners, okay? The tree and the different branches represent different ways in which they can learn. So these different modalities, the blended learning model coming together. So for an individual learner, but just as critical, we're seeing in these RFPs, we're seeing organizations need to help transform themselves, okay? You can learn individual by individual, but if you're trying to transform and be an agile development shop, if you're trying to transform and really go through a digital transformation, it's about a team, right? It's about an organizational change you need to drive. And we're there also to help you do that, okay? So it's trying to play both of these. It's helping the individual, but it's also helping the organization through that change. And that's the really big change. Now, in the middle there, after we're done, we're gonna highlight for you a learning management platform solution on that screen there in the middle that you can come and see what we're doing, because this is a part of it. It's bringing together all of our capabilities and then automating that for users, okay, and automating that for the organization as well. And we're going to showcase us doing that through our learning management platform for great work we're doing at the state of Tennessee. We were selected a number of years ago to run what is called their IT Academy. They have more than 1,700 individuals in IT across the state agencies that we are working with. Okay, we worked with the state of Tennessee to develop more than 25 different learning paths based on their job roles. And we've laid those down, and we offer a suite of courses and a blended learning model for them. And what's really great about this program is that after we go back 3 months and we survey those attendees that have gone through a learning path and are back on the job, they themselves say they are 27% more effective in what they're doing on their job based on going through that training, that workforce development. So we're doing this at scale, okay? And what you're gonna see, if you take a look at our learning management platform and the instantiation we've done for the state of Tennessee, is a live use that's literally handling thousands of people. So what is our difference? We talked about that learning ecosystem, the ability to support the different modalities of learning, that blended learning at an individual level, supporting the organization. Let me talk about a couple other things. We're more than a 40-year-old organization that have helped organizations through transformations like these, okay? So we bring that wealth of knowledge. We've got a great instructor corps, 600 plus instructors worldwide. We don't hire them full-time employees. What we do is we go out and get consultants that are working in the field, that are real-world practitioners that also love to teach. And that we seek those people out. We work closely with them to train them in a way that they can be highly effective in our classroom or virtually for us. They can do coaching and mentoring for us. They can even do consulting, all right? Sometimes we embed some of our instructors in change initiatives where that makes sense. We also are global, okay? We can scale. I talked about the state of Tennessee example. We've got a worldwide operations. We handle a major organization last year that we trained in 21 different countries. We can scale. And so when you put together this blended learning model, the ability to do it with our learning management platform, a great instructor corps of experts, and our ability to scale, we believe we set ourselves apart from anybody else in the industry today. And lastly, I also want to say, I want to put another plug out there for our partners, okay? We got a great set of partners that help us scale. And I gotta apologize to Isaka, when I read my list, somehow I missed your name, but another great partner for us, okay? Just quickly, many times organizations are turning to us, not saying, hey, we're from the L&D organization, we just need your training help. Many organizations now we're talking to, we're going through a major agile transformation. We're going through a major IT modernization. And those organizations need help, okay? They recognize that they don't necessarily have all the skills and abilities they need. We're a company not about doing it for them. We're a company about helping them so they can do it themselves, okay? That's what we're all about. And by the way, it's not just about technical skills. It's not just about process skills like good project management or good service management. There's that interpersonal skills part too. The leadership, the professional development, the ability to collaborate, work well in teams. These kinds of training, these kinds of workforce development become critical when you're trying to transform an organization. And so we believe that we're well positioned to support organizations, as I say, to be a partner from a workforce development standpoint in major change and transformation initiatives. So we're on this journey. We've evolved a lot. We're a different learning tree than we were 4 or 5 years ago. Obviously, we got to run as fast as anybody, right? We got to keep evolving, keep innovating, keep bringing tremendous value to our clients, okay? So it's great that you are all able to join us. Thank you for your time and attention. At this time, what I'd like to do is open it up for any questions for Heath, Jim, or myself, if there are any questions. Don't want to keep you too long. We've got plenty of cocktails and food, and hope you can stick around and visit our partners and see our learning management platform. Okay? Question? Yes, sir.
Richard Samuel, Massenburg. Just out of curiosity, what is the average investment for the learning management platform?
We've been working on this. I'm sorry, when you say average investment, could you qualify that? What do you?
So what would an organization need to spend to be able to take advantage of that platform?
Well, what we do is really we use that as a delivery vehicle, okay? So we don't charge directly for the learning management platform, okay? We will work with an organization. You can see what we've done for the state of Tennessee. For our larger clients, we will work with you to customize it to your needs, okay? And because it allows us to help better manage the delivery of our services to that particular client. So it's not something we charge for directly, but it's all part of the package that we bring together for a client. Other questions for any of us? Okay, you all went back to the bar, I get it. And that's great. All right, thank you so much for attending. I think it's a great audience.